Hello, everyone. My name is Ruby Camarillo, and I'm super excited to be with you all today to talk about the American Diabetes Association and the resources that we have available for you as an employee of Irvine ISD and as a just person either concerned about diabetes, living with diabetes, maybe you're a caretaker or a parent to somebody who has diabetes. We're going to cover a few different things, but I'm super excited. If you have any questions, my contact info will be at the end, so you can definitely reach out for more information on the resources we'll talk about, or just any questions in general. We do have a lot of other folks on my team that can help you with specific questions that you may have. So today we're doing Diabetes 101. And first off, what is the American Diabetes Association? Why do we talk about Diabetes 101? Well, the ADA is the only organization currently in the US that is pursuing both prevention, cures, treatments, researching on all the fronts of diabetes. And we're trying our best to focus on all three types of diabetes. So even though type 2, which is something that you're most familiar with and that we'll talk about a little bit later, is the most common of diabetes, our organization actually also has research and funding specifically to type 1 and to gestational, which is the diabetes that impacts women who are expecting. And why is diabetes so important? Well, 1 in 10 Americans currently have diabetes. We have millions more that are living with something called prediabetes, which you've probably heard of. Maybe you've heard about it at your doctor's office. And prediabetes is just the step below it. So it's really important that we know that. And diabetes has become a public health crisis. So we always use the word epidemic here because truly that is what diabetes has become in America. And a lot of people attribute it to, our diet and our lifestyle, but there's also a lot of other factors. And some of those factors have to do with ethnicity. There is a DNA and genetic component to certain ethnicities that do make them more predisposed to having diabetes in their lifetime. So as you'll see here, if you are non-Hispanic white, you are 50% less likely to be diagnosed with diabetes than those of the Black or Hispanic community. And then our Native American community is also at high risk to developing type 2 diabetes, and our Asian American community as well. So when you look at the composition of Irvine, I'm here in Dallas. I'm very well that Irvine is kind of this melting pot. You have a high Hispanic, a high Black community, and a high Asian American community. So you're really looking at a large amount of that community being already 2 times more likely to be diagnosed with type 2 diabetes just because of the ethnicity that they're born in. So there's a lot of other factors that come into it. A lot of times people talk about diabetes and they make it very taboo and they blame it all on, your diet, but there are other factors that come into play. And part of that epidemic that we've talked about is with children. So here you'll see that there's a large amount of children who are being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes earlier in their life. This is something that's usually diagnosed with in your 40s, in your 40s to 50s, and now we're seeing children as young as 11, 12 being diagnosed with type 1. So what are prediabetes and diabetes? Well, prediabetes is currently impacting 88 million Americans. Of those, half of them will develop type 2. So prediabetes is really when you have elevated blood sugars already, but it's not quite there to become diabetes. So it's a preventable phase. This is usually where your doctor tells you, hey, you need to lose some weight, you need to diet and exercise. Let's look at possibly some medications to help you with that. But at this point, if you have prediabetes, it isn't a diagnosis to diabetes. It's really your signal to get your health in control. So like I said, prediabetes is a precursor to type 2. We do have a risk test that we encourage you all to take online. It is diabetes.org/risk test, and it will tell you what your risk factors are to diabetes. There are 3 types of diabetes. Those are type 1, type 2, and gestational, which we went over earlier. And we'll focus on type 2, but all the symptoms are the same. So if you're experiencing any of these symptoms, I highly encourage you to go and visit your doctor and have them check your A1C. So your A1C is that blood test that goes back in your history of glucose, I guess you could say, for 3 months. So, you may get the little pinprick. A lot of people they'll do those at Walmart or Kroger or even at their doctor's office. You're going to want to ask for the one that goes more in depth. That pinprick is only for, the last 24 hours, not even. You want something that's more comprehensive. And that, in combination with letting your doctor know about these symptoms, will tell you if you are living with diabetes or possibly another disease. So what puts you at risk? We already kind of talked about this, but of course there are, if you are overweight, if you're not physically active, you're going to be more at risk for type 2. But genetics, family history, your race, your age, if you have high blood pressure, cholesterol problems, there are a lot of other factors that go into play. And so it's important that you do talk to your doctor about these things. If you know that you have a family history, that you have it in the back of your head that, hey, I need to keep up and make sure I'm checking that A1C every year. And your A1C, um, you will see these kind of charts everywhere, but this is basically what you would want to know. If you have a 6.5 A1C or higher, then you have diabetes. Your doctor would talk to you about that. If you're in this pre-diabetes range, you're going to want to get back down into the normal range just to be on the safe side. But these are really important numbers to know. And I recommend that if you do have a history of diabetes in your family, that you get this test every day, or not every day, every year during your annual appointment, just to make sure, know where you are. So what can you do? As everybody knows, diabetes does lead to a lot of complications: nerve damage, kidney damage, eye problems. It is the leading cause of amputation aside from traumatic experiences, and heart disease and stroke. Whenever you think of people who have had a cardiac event, people say, oh, well, they had a heart attack or they had a stroke, and they leave out diabetes. But most of the time, people who have had those cardiac events have had diabetes. So it's an important piece to know that this is kind of the precursor to so many other complications. And of course, like we mentioned, losing a little weight, even if it's just 10, 15 pounds, can help prevent diabetes, along with physical activity, eating right, and if your doctor has prescribed you any medications to help, continuously taking those until they let you know otherwise. We have a really fantastic resource for you all. It's the Diabetes Food Hub. If you're somebody who is not creative in the kitchen, I am one of those folks, so I need somebody to tell me what to do when I'm cooking. It's a really great way. It plans all your portions for you. It has all the carb counts there. If you're on a low sodium diet, you can click a little button there that will filter out all the recipes that are low sodium. It's 100% free, and we are always adding resources to it. Currently, there's about 1,000 recipes on there, and they range all the way from Tex-Mex to, I saw the other day that we had added some Vietnamese dishes, slow cooker meals like crock pot meals or Instapot meals. There's just a lot of different great recipes there. I highly recommend that you check it out, because when your doctor lets you know, hey, I need to lose weight, you don't just have to eat salad every day. There's a fun way to eat, and I've really been appreciating this website for that reason. So here are just some more other resources and our impact in Texas. We do have a lot of different research projects that we fund in Texas. About half a dozen of them are actually here in the North Texas area. We have a large amount of campers, which are majority of them are in North Texas, and I'll touch on those camps in a second. And then our programming and our advocacy efforts range throughout the state, but here in the Texas, we have been able to handle 108 discrimination cases over the last year, which is they range in also, but you're looking at like children who are kicked out of school because they have type 1 diabetes. It does happen, unfortunately, and we've been able to help them with that. Same goes with adults who are, fired when they develop type 2 diabetes. So there's certain discrimination cases that we're able to handle pro bono through funding from the ADA. And of course, with the pandemic, we have our COVID-19 response. We've been on the forefront of COVID-19 since day one. Unfortunately, 45% of those who have passed to COVID have had diabetes. So it is a huge research effort that we are now engaged in. And we are funding research all over the nation to determine how we can better care for people who are living with diabetes who have contracted COVID and those who are now seeking treatment afterwards. So it's a big response. And of course, we've also had to kick into gear our insulin resources and help in that regard as well. This is just a snapshot of some of our programs, but the one that I wanted to really talk to you all about today is our summer camp for children. We have a summer camp, two different summer camps, and I believe they're on my next slide. They are. So our first one, and these are usually in person. In 2022, we will have them in person, but for now they are virtual. The ADA Imagine Camp is for children living with type 1. If you have a student or you're a caretaker to a child living with type 1 diabetes, this is the camp for you. It's 100% free. All the children are sent boxes, as you can see right there. She's with her box and her little backpack that was sent with her. They meet twice a week. It's all interactive on social media and via Zoom. We have a special Zoom program that makes it very secure also for the children. And basically, they learn more about type 1 diabetes and how to live with it. It is a disease that they will have for the remainder of their lives. So we want to make sure that they feel empowered and ready to tackle all of life's challenges. And we are already accepting registration for it. So we will have some different sessions, but we will have them starting in June. This is more of a summer program. We do have one that is starting in March, which is our Project Power. So Project Power is a camp for children who are at risk for developing type 2 diabetes. So if you know of any of your students or you're a caretaker to a child who is struggling with childhood obesity, they're maybe not interested in being active or taking healthy foods, this is a really great way to kind of introduce them into a healthier lifestyle. It's a fun virtual after school program. We will have the first session starting in March, 100% free. They also receive one of these fun little boxes with all their stuff. They have challenges. For the first about 15 minutes of the course, they are engaging in actual educational pieces, nutritional information. And then the rest of it, you'll see from this little photo of them in Zoom, they're actually out and getting active and doing like exercise challenge or some kind of fun event. So it's really great. This is also a really good program for the whole family to get involved because we assign homework to the whole family. So it's like make a healthy meal with your family or a healthy dessert. Go on a walk with your brothers and sisters. So it really does help get the whole family invited. You know, we want to make an impact on these children and influence them to have healthier lifestyles, but really we need mom and dad and grandma and grandpa and whoever is there with them to also get involved. So these are free resources. We do have the session starting in March. We also have one in May, October, and November, and they are after school programs. So this is just another fun activity for your students to do in the virtual world. Here they are on Halloween. All of our counselors were getting really into the spirit. So how can you support the ADA? The ADA is doing school fundraisers right now. If you are interested in having a school walk or a school dance, we've had like a field day instead of doing an official walk. Perfectly fine. Even movie nights I've seen some schools do. So if you're interested in doing that to support our mission, I'd be more than happy to help you get that all set up. We also have a Tour de Cure. So if you are a cyclist or your family likes to cycle, join our Tour de Cure. It's a really great event where we cycle for a cause. And we will have that in person in 2022. This year it is virtual, but there's a lot of fun virtual activities and challenges that come with it as well. And it's 100% free to register. And of course, if you are interested in just becoming one of our social media advocates, help spread the word, share our message online. It really helps us, especially today in this world where we're all virtual and on our phones. We really need folks like yourself who have a connection to our cause to help share what our organization does. And lastly, this is just my contact info. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me via email. We also have a hotline there, the 1-800 diabetes hotline. If you have any questions about how you can receive help for insulin, maybe you have a question about nutrition or a family member who is having some issues with advocacy, so maybe they're in a discrimination case of their own, I would recommend calling the 1-800 line. Our operators there in the call center are actually trained to deal with all of that good stuff. They can help get you linked up if you have a advocacy case that you need help on. If you're looking for healthy resources, we actually have a few um, nutritionists on staff that are able to help. And then, of course, with insulin help too, are the know-it-alls on how to find affordable insulin or receive assistance for insulin. So that is the end of my presentation. Like I said earlier, I am here to answer any of your questions. Please feel free to give me a call or an email. I'd be happy to answer them. And we are here in the Dallas area. So once we are back into the in-person world, you can definitely set up a meeting and we can go and meet you in person.